Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Today I got this new chainsaw and we're going to be checking it out. Alright guys, so we're actually going to be putting this chainsaw on a bicycle. I've never actually used a chainsaw on a bike before, so it's going to be fun and hopefully it works out good. Okay, so I have the chainsaw kind of broken down to what I want to put on the bike. And now I suppose it's time to mount it. So I think the easiest way to do this is to use this mounting hole, and then there's two holes right here that I can also use, and that was for the U-bar that kind of goes over that you hang on to. So I think it's going to go something like this, just right in the middle of the frame. I've got some scrap metal here, and we're going to use that, and I can cut out some brackets and go from there. So this scrap metal is from my neighbor's lawnmower blades. That'll teach him to not mow the lawn so early. So I just got to cut it up and drill a hole, and we got a bracket. Okay, so next what I like to do is just grab our little tab, put a couple washers in there to give us some space, and then preemptively bolt it on. And we can kind of line it up where we want, and then weld that tab on. I'm just gonna keep blaming my Harbor Freight welder for all these welds. So yeah, I have a Harbor Freight welder. Okay, so the motor is somewhat mounted. I got a little pulley. We're gonna be using a belt drive on this sucker. But before I, finalize the position of the motor, I gotta make a jack shaft. And then before I make a jack shaft, I gotta put a sprocket on the rear wheel so that while I'm making the jack shaft, So anyway, I start with taking off the rear wheel. I then 3D printed these plastic Toys R Us hubs for the sprocket mount. To make sure this thing doesn't slip around the hub, I also I grinded the hub a little bit and then put a key into the plastic. I then bolt on the sprocket, which I think is a dirt bike 420 sprocket, and then put that back onto the bike, and I'm actually very happy with how the sprocket mounted. Everything lines up really well, and it also spins really true. Alright, so I attached the rear sprocket, and I don't know. It's held on with a 3D print, and if it doesn't, then I'll just beef it up, I guess. Since that is finished, I'm gonna make a jack shaft now, and to do that, I got a couple of these, and I'm gonna put them, I think, right here. And then I'll have a pulley right there, and hopefully it avoids the pedal. So for the brackets, I'm just gonna cheat, and I'm gonna cut them out with the plasma cutter. Otherwise, making 4 of these is kind of a pain in the butt. So the bearings are gonna be mounted something like this. And then to align the sprockets, I'm using this flat bar as a straight edge. And then I'll kind of just form the jack shaft around that drive sprocket. Okay, well, I have one side of the jack shaft kind of tacked on there, so now I'm gonna piece together some chain, see if it's at all lined up. It's kind of nice when I order this 420 chain, it always comes with a chain brake, so I have like 5 of these now. And the chain didn't fall off and it spins great, so it's right on the money. So I'll probably need to add a chain tensioner or a half link. Or both, I don't know. We'll see. Wait, is he saying half link or half link? Alright, so now I'm making the bracket for the other side of the jack shaft. And I'm basically using some angle iron to kind of take it off the frame a little bit. And then the pulley's gonna go on the other side just like this, and looks like everything's coming together. So I actually ended up making a cool little chain tensioner here, and then I throw on this little idler pulley. I think it's from a washing machine, actually. Tighten that sucker on there, and let me show you what it looks like on the bike. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, looks great. So now I'm going to be making the belt tensioner, and so I have some pre-cut steel here. There's a lot of holes in there, and that's just for adjustments if I needed it. So I'm using some shoulder bolts as the joints, which help make it pretty smooth. I also experimented with a 3D printed coupler. It's that red piece in the middle, and in hindsight, it was probably a stupid idea to try it. So instead I just welded on this little tube, and it worked well. Well, I went ahead and cut out this little bracket here, and this is actually going to be for the front end motor mount. So let me bend it up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm keeping the original chainsaw tooth rack stab bar thing just for looks. But anyway, that bracket bolts on and then I weld it to the frame of the bike. So then finally I settled on using one of those adjustable tubing plier things. So unfortunately with the exhaust, I kind of painted myself into a corner with this jack shaft and where this pulley is. The original muffler doesn't fit in there without hitting the belt. I'm gonna attempt to make my own, and I kind of have this skeleton mocked up. It's just some sheet metal. And so that's gonna bolt on. And then I got this guy, and we're gonna try to weld it onto that. And of course I'll fill in these gaps too, so. But I'm wondering about the exhaust. Did the manufacturers of the chainsaw tune that exhaust to those chainsaws? Because I'm not sure. I've never thought about that with a chainsaw or a weed whacker. It's such a small exhaust that I can't imagine it doing much, but maybe it does. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I also ended up just throwing some brackets on the end of it. And now I think I'm gonna mess with this. This was originally the chain guard. I'm gonna repurpose it, cut it to length, and put it something like that. So this thing's only gonna be held on by one bracket, so it might be clattery, but it'll probably fall off. So I kinda want your guys' opinion on something here. How would you arrange the clutch for this? So right now, I have it so that it's stowed in neutral, and then you engage it, and then the spring keeps it closed. But in my mind, I can also find arguments and safety arguments in having it in the other direction, meaning I tighten it and then I put it on something like this, like a hook. But just maybe leave a comment and let me know what you think. Would you have it so that the spring automatically engages the clutch, or the other way around? And yep, there's definitely an exhaust leak, but it sounds amazing. The age of this saw fits this bike really well, and it looks awesome. I love it. The initial gear ratio is quite a bit off. So I think later on I'm going to have to try out a different size pulley. Well, it looks like I need to retighten the exhaust and the belt guard. So because of that atrocious gear ratio, I do have to lay on the clutch a little bit. But after a little while, you can let go completely, and then you just fly. I maybe hit 35 to 40 miles an hour. I think if I put a bigger pulley on the jack shaft, I would actually be able to rev the chainsaw a lot more and then get more speed out of it. But with this bicycle, I don't trust going any faster than what I did. Leave me a comment of what you thought. Thanks, bye.